The room erupted in quiet laughter the moment the number left his lips. $6,000. That was all the black single father could offer for a forgotten piece of land that everyone else had dismissed as worthless. The bankers didn't even try to hide their smirks. Some exchanged amused glances while others leaned back in expensive leather chairs, convinced they were witnessing the most ridiculous proposal of the year. To them, Marcus Johnson wasn't an investor. He wasn't a businessman. He was just another poor man reaching far beyond his place. But what they didn't know was that the greatest mistakes are often made when people judge someone by the size of their wallet instead of the strength of their character. By the time the truth finally came out, those same bankers would watch a $36 million project collapse before their eyes because they underestimated one determined father who refused to quit. Before we continue, if you believe kindness, second chances, and never judging people by their appearance can change lives, please take a moment to like this video, leave a comment, share it with someone who needs encouragement, and subscribe to Kindness Corner for more inspiring stories that remind us humanity is still alive. Marcus Johnson woke before sunrise every morning in a tiny apartment where every square foot carried a memory of sacrifice. The walls were old, the plumbing complained every winter, and the kitchen table doubled as his office after his daughter fell asleep. Since losing his wife to an unexpected illness 5 years earlier, Marcus had raised 10-year-old Ava completely on his own. Every school lunch he packed, every bedtime story he read, every extra shift he accepted was another promise to his daughter that life would someday become better. During the day he worked maintenance jobs repairing broken heating systems, leaking pipes, and damaged electrical wiring across the city. At night he studied property records, city planning documents, and environmental reports borrowed from the public library because he couldn't afford expensive market research. Most people believed his dreams were unrealistic. Marcus believed they were simply unfinished. One rainy afternoon, while repairing an abandoned warehouse, Marcus noticed survey markers placed around a neglected industrial lot nearby. Curious, he spent weeks researching the property. Hidden inside dozens of public planning documents was a detail almost everyone had overlooked. The city had quietly approved a future transportation expansion that would eventually connect the forgotten neighborhood to one of the fastest-growing commercial districts in the region. To most investors, the land looked contaminated, isolated, and nearly useless. To Marcus, it looked like tomorrow's opportunity waiting for someone patient enough to recognize it. His entire savings amounted to just over $6,000. It represented years of skipped vacations, repaired shoes instead of replaced ones, homemade dinners instead of restaurant meals, and countless nights of exhaustion. Ava once asked why they never bought anything unnecessary, and Marcus simply smiled, telling her they were saving for something they couldn't see yet. She believed him because she had learned that her father never broke a promise. When the property auction arrived, Marcus entered the elegant banking headquarters wearing the only suit he owned. It had been tailored years earlier for his wife's funeral and now fit loosely from years of hard work. Around him stood developers, investment executives, and wealthy entrepreneurs discussing millions as casually as ordinary people discussed groceries. Marcus remained quiet, holding a folder filled with handwritten notes instead of glossy presentations. The moment he submitted his offer, the atmosphere changed. The officials barely glanced at his paperwork before exchanging amused expressions. Some whispered that processing his application was probably wasting everyone's time. Others questioned whether he understood the difference between thousands and millions. No one asked why he believed in the property. No one wondered what research had brought him there. They only saw a struggling black single father making an offer too small to deserve respect. Marcus left without arguing. Pride would not pay his daughter's school fees. Anger would not build his future. Instead, he walked home beneath gray skies carrying disappointment that felt heavier than the rain soaking through his jacket. Yet when Ava greeted him with a hug and proudly showed him the perfect score she had earned on her science test, something inside him settled. Failure wasn't the end of his story. It was simply another chapter. Months passed. The bankers approved a massive $36 million commercial development led by one of the city's largest investment groups. News stations celebrated the project as a symbol of economic growth. Construction crews arrived. Heavy equipment filled the empty lots. Investors congratulated themselves for securing what they believed would become the city's next financial landmark. Marcus continued working. Quietly, he kept researching the same neighborhood. His experience repairing aging infrastructure had taught him something engineers often overlooked from behind office desks. Beneath the abandoned properties lay a complicated network of forgotten utility tunnels, unstable drainage systems, and aging water lines that had never been properly documented. During his countless repair jobs, Marcus had personally entered sections of those underground systems years earlier. He knew their condition because he had touched the rusted pipes with his own hands. Concerned about public safety, Marcus wrote detailed reports to local planning offices. He attached maps, photographs, maintenance records, and engineering observations gathered over years of work. Weeks went by without response. Most officials assumed the concerns came from someone disappointed after losing the property auction. Construction continued until one ordinary morning when excavation crews uncovered exactly what Marcus had warned about. Massive underground deterioration stretched far beyond initial surveys. Water damage had weakened critical foundations across multiple parcels. Environmental inspectors soon discovered additional contamination that previous assessments had missed. Work stopped immediately. As independent investigators reviewed maintenance archives and municipal records, Marcus's earlier reports suddenly became impossible to ignore. Experts verified that the risks had existed long before construction began and that proper due diligence could have prevented millions in wasted spending. The project stalled indefinitely while lawsuits, insurance claims, and regulatory investigations multiplied. Investors who had once laughed confidently now faced staggering financial losses. The celebrated $36 million development became an expensive reminder that arrogance can be far more costly than careful listening. Reporters searching for answers eventually found Marcus still repairing heating systems in modest neighborhoods. They expected bitterness or celebration. Instead, they found humility. Marcus explained that he never wanted anyone to fail. He only wanted people to pay attention before innocent workers and families were placed at risk. His greatest satisfaction wasn't being proven right. It was knowing that preventable danger had finally been recognized. The story spread quickly across the country. Community leaders praised his integrity. Universities invited him to speak about practical knowledge, perseverance, and responsible development. Experienced engineers admitted that real expertise sometimes comes from years spent solving problems with your own hands rather than simply reviewing reports from a conference room. A non-profit organization offered Marcus funding to establish a neighborhood consulting firm that combined local workers' experience with professional planning reviews. His company soon became known for preventing costly infrastructure mistakes before projects ever reached construction. More importantly, Marcus finally created the future he had always imagined for Ava. They moved into a comfortable home with a small backyard where she planted flowers her mother had once loved. Marcus never forgot the apartment where their journey began. Every year, he quietly donated school supplies, winter coats, and emergency rent assistance to struggling single parents because he remembered exactly how difficult those years had been. The same bankers who once dismissed his $6,000 bid eventually requested meetings with his consulting firm. This time they listened carefully. Marcus treated every person with professionalism, never seeking revenge or humiliation. He understood that true victory is not making others feel small. It is proving that compassion, preparation, and perseverance always outlast prejudice. If this story touched your heart, please take a moment to like this video, share it with your friends and family, subscribe to Kindness Corner, and let us know in the comments which moment inspired you the most. Your support helps us continue sharing stories that remind the world kindness still matters. Special request, please comment with the words, "Never underestimate a kind heart," if you believe determination and character are worth more than appearances. Marcus Johnson never became wealthy because he chased revenge. He succeeded because he chose patience over pride, wisdom over anger, and hope over bitterness. The bankers saw $6,000 and believed they understood his worth. His daughter saw a father who never stopped believing. In the end, history remembered not the people who laughed in comfortable boardrooms, but the humble man who carried his dreams through hardship without ever losing his humanity. Sometimes the greatest investment is not measured in money at all. It is measured in courage, kindness, and the quiet determination to keep moving forward even when the whole world tells you to sit down. Those are the riches that never lose their value, and those are the victories that no one can ever take away.